Good morning, Nuggets. Today is going to be the last lesson before we have our first noun unit quiz. And today's lesson is going to tell you more about how to use apostrophes in order to show possession. So, making nouns possessive is the title of our lesson today. You're going to learn how to identify and explain possession, or what possessive case means. Tell the difference between a pronoun and a noun because they are not the same. Identify pronouns and their antecedents. If you don't know what an antecedent is, you'll learn that also. You'll be able to tell the difference between a plural and a possessive noun, create the possessive forms of both singular and plural nouns, and use apostrophes appropriately in sentences. So here we go. Do you have your composition notebook out? Do you have the date? Did you put a heading, making nouns possessive? Ready? Let's go. Let's start by defining possessive case. If you hear a teacher talking about possessive case, they're talking about the form of a noun or pronoun that is used to show ownership or relationship. So, for example, Toby owns the poncho. I own my homework. The team own their victory. Okay, so all of these show ownership. They can also show a relationship, which is similar to ownership, but not 100% the same. So, for example, the expression, I had a good night's sleep. The night doesn't actually possess sleep, but you're using the apostrophe or the possessive case to show the relationship between those two words. The dog's leashes. The dogs don't actually own their leashes. You use the leashes with the dogs, and the leashes are owned by you, but we have the apostrophe. Notice there's more than one dog, so our apostrophe rule is a little bit different. That's one of the rules you're going to be learning in this lesson. And then anyone's guess, another expression. One of the things I've noticed in your identifying and classifying nouns worksheets, and also making some of your corrections, is that we have some misunderstandings between the difference between nouns and pronouns. So we're going to do a quick review, because nouns and pronouns can both be possessive, but they show the possessive case in different ways. So you already know that a noun is a word that refers to a person, place, thing, quality, or idea. Pronouns can also refer to people, places, things, qualities, or ideas. The difference is it is a word that is used in place of a noun. You wouldn't want to run around saying, Teresa went to the store. Teresa bought flowers and milk. Teresa wants to win a Grammy someday. You sound ridiculous. We use pronouns so that we don't have to repeat ourselves over and over and over and over again. Pronouns always have to refer to a noun. And the noun that a pronoun refers to is its antecedent. So you see our definition here, antecedent, the noun that gives the pronoun its meaning. So if you look at the two sample sentences at the bottom of the slide, it makes it clear the difference between a noun and a pronoun, and it also helps you identify antecedents for pronouns. So the first sentence, Miguel said he spoke 3 languages. Miguel is a noun. It refers to a person, and it's not a word like he, she, it, they. It is his name. It's a proper noun. So I have that highlighted in yellow to show that it's a noun. I also have languages highlighted in yellow because it's a common noun. It's not taking the place of another noun. It's not saying which specific languages Miguel speaks. So it's a common noun. It's not capitalized. He. Many of you would have marked this as also a noun, but in fact, he is a pronoun. He, she, it, they, we, I, all of those, they refer to nouns that precede them. So he is a pronoun, and its antecedent is Miguel. The second example, you'll notice the order is slightly different because it is a question, but the same concept applies. Kim, wallet, and bus are our nouns. Her is a pronoun that is referring to Kim. Her is also showing possession. So this is a good example of a possessive pronoun because it's her wallet. You would want to say, did Kim leave Kim's wallet on the bus? See how ridiculous that sounds? That's why we use pronouns. So it's very clear that Kim is the antecedent. The sentence that follows it, all right, also has antecedents. I like this example because it shows you that antecedents aren't always necessarily in the exact same sentence. So when we look at the second sentence here, I hope she finds it. I is referring to me. That's implied because I'm the speaker. So there is no antecedent for I other than the fact that I'm the one talking. She, the antecedent for she would be Kim, because again, we don't want to say, did Kim leave Kim's wallet on the bus? I hope Kim finds it. So instead we use she. And then it, of course, its antecedent is the wallet, because that's what we hope that she finds. Hopefully now we have nouns and pronouns straight, and we understand that pronouns have antecedents, or nouns to which they refer. Now that we have this down, we can go more in depth with the possessive case. Possessive pronouns. All right, I highlighted an example for you on the previous slide. They show ownership, but they don't use apostrophes. So pronouns don't use apostrophe. You don't say we's car. You say our car. Okay, so you don't sound ridiculous. So examples would be mine, yours, his, hers, ours, theirs, whose. The laptop is hers. Okay, and then used with a noun, my, your, his, her, its, our, their, whose. The mansion on the corner is their house. Now you may be asking yourself, what does this mean, used alone, used with a noun? In the first example on the left-hand side, possessive pronouns, when they come after a verb like is or a to be verb, they can just occur by themselves. It's still showing possession of laptop, and it's connected by the linking verb right here, is. This is what we're more familiar with. It's where we just put the possessive pronoun with the noun that it's showing possession of. So whose house? Their house. And you see the noun immediately follows it. So both of these are possessive pronouns. It's just important that you realize sometimes the noun will be before it, and sometimes it'll be right next to it and after it. All right, now let's talk about how to use your apostrophes. When your noun is singular or there's only one of an item, the normal rule is you add an apostrophe and you add S. This is very helpful because it can help your writing to be more concise and more direct. So instead of saying the desk of the teacher, we can boil that down to the teacher's desk. The wool of the sheep's wool. The streets of the city's street. Notice, I did not change the Y to I. That's because city is singular. It's not plural. All of these nouns are singular, so I just add apostrophe S. That's very straightforward, and most of you probably feel very comfortable with that. Now, let's look at some possible exceptions. A proper noun ending in an S can only take an apostrophe if the addition of an S would make the name awkward to say. So for example, what do you do when the person's name ends in an S? Odysseus' name ends in an S. Okay, Odysseus' travels. When we say Odysseus' travels, notice you hear the S twice, Odysseus's. You hear the is's. That means that I do hear the second S, so I go ahead and just follow the rule as I normally would and put apostrophe S. Okay, so that doesn't always work. For example, let's say I want to talk about a book that Miss Rawling wrote, the book of Miss Rawling. If I wanted to show possession using an apostrophe and I wrote Miss Rawlings's book, it's awkward. You don't say Miss Rawlings's. It's hard to say. You don't want to say ziz. So in this case, because it's a proper noun and because it does end in an S, and it sounds weird to say, I can get away with just putting an apostrophe without putting an S after it. Miss Rawlings' book was about Harry Potter. Done. Actually, Rawling, I think, is somebody different, but you get the idea. And then once again, here's another example. The word Jess, it's a proper noun, it ends in an S. So say it out loud. Jess's grades are awesome. Jess's. we say both S's, so we put apostrophe S. Most of the time, you go ahead and put apostrophe S. Only when it sounds weird that you will just get away with putting the apostrophe. Make sure you use your ear. If you're not sure, always err on the side of caution and use the S. Okay? And this exception only applies to proper nouns. So you might want to highlight that in your notes. All right, now here's where we tend to get into trouble, and this is where a lot of us are making most of our errors. Possessive does not equal plural, and plural does not equal possessive. Do not confuse a singular possessive noun with a plural noun. So, for example, the sentence, 4 players have red jerseys. Go Caps, right? I'm talking about 4 players. The players don't own the word that follows it, though. I mean, do the players have a have? No, they do not. That would be redundant. That would be like saying the word have twice by placing the apostrophe here. The S that's there isn't showing possession, it's saying there's more than one player. It's plural. So what I should write instead is 4 players have red jerseys. Okay. Now, I could revise that sentence and add some additional material to it, and I could say the 4 players' red jerseys. All right, that would be another way of writing this without the verb. Of course, if I take out the verb, I no longer have a sentence. I would add more information about those red jerseys after it to make a complete thought. So be very conscientious when you do this. Make sure you know whether it's singular or plural and whether or not you are showing ownership or relationship. Let's check yourself. All right, all you have to do for this in your notes, jot numbers 1 through 6. You do not have to write the sentence. Just take a quick minute, read each sentence, and write down what you think is the proper form of the noun, whether it's plural or possessive. So number 1, the car's brakes failed to operate on the snowy mountain road. Number 2, on weekends, students love to sleep in. I feel like I should have added teachers to that sentence. Shh. Number 3, Albert Einstein's theory of relativity changed our understanding of time. Four, civil liberties were bought with blood. Some good alliteration there, right? Number 5, today's lesson taught us how to indicate the possessive case. And number 6 is going to test you on your use of pronouns, possessive pronouns. Fast food has its downsides. Okay, pause if you need more time. Otherwise, let this play so you can check your answers. For number 1, it should be car apostrophe S because you are showing possession or relationship. Okay, the car's brakes. P.S. What is the spelling error in this sentence? Did you catch it? Ding, ding, ding. Brakes. We're not talking about breaking something on the car. We're talking about the physical brakes that cause us to stop. How should that be spelled? B-R-A-K-E-S. Always keep an eye out for those kanyas. All right, number 2. On weekends, students love to sleep in. We're not showing possession of love. We're not talking about the love of the students. This is plural, not possessive. Number 3, Albert Einstein's theory of relativity changed our understanding of time. It's his theory, the theory of relativity of Albert Einstein. So I do want an apostrophe S at the end of this because I'm using the possessive case. Number 4, civil liberties were bought with blood. Do civil liberties own anything in the sentence? No. This is plural. Notice the Y changed to I and we added ES because we have the consonant T before the Y. So this is just plural. Number 5, today's lesson taught us how to indicate the possessive case. Now, today can't actually own anything, but we are showing the relationship between the lesson and today. So we are using the possessive case by adding an apostrophe S. There's not more than one today. There's only today. And last but not least, this was probably the trickiest one on here. Number 6, fast food has its downsides. This is possessive, but because it's a pronoun, remember, possessive pronouns do not use an apostrophe. If you selected the apostrophe, what you're actually saying is fast food has it is downsides. It apostrophe s means it is. It's a contraction. And it's not possessive. So you want to be very careful that you don't add an apostrophe where you don't need one on a possessive pronoun. Let's move along. Now we've talked about singular possessive nouns. Let's talk about what to do when you're starting with a noun that is already plural. It's death by s's. So we have to know what to do, how many to add, and where to put our apostrophes. In order to make a plural noun possessive, to form the possessive case of a plural noun ending in s, you will add only an apostrophe. The students' names, today's growth, the stone's home, the pirate's cave. Each one of these are plural, not singular. For example, 2 days, there's more than one day. I already have the s to show that it's plural. To make that plural noun possessive, I just add an apostrophe. Very easy. Now, if you're forming the possessive case of a plural noun that does not end in s, if you think back to our previous lesson on making nouns plural, part 2, remember some nouns are the same for both singular and plural. Teeth and geese are examples of those. And in fact, some plural nouns that are irregular, they change, but they don't end in an s. For example, women, men, anything like that, children. So what you will do for this is you will add an apostrophe s because there's not already an s there because it's irregular. So her teeth's hardness, apostrophe s. The men's restroom, apostrophe s. Okay. The geese's honking. Okay. Everybody go with that? Awesome sauce. Let's keep rolling. Let's check yourself. All right, go to your worksheet, Possessive Nouns, Form A. If you have lost this paper, remember you can access and print a new copy from Fusion or from the class website. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause and complete 1 through 15. When you're ready, hit play to go over your answers. All right, take a minute and go through and check your work for 1 through 15. Number 1, the children's hour. Remember, children is plural, but it doesn't end in s. So we are going to add apostrophe s. Longfellow, those are his poems. So we put an apostrophe s. Number 2, the first witness's testimony greatly impressed the jury. This one is tricky. This was incorrect on your paper because there's only one witness, correct? So this forces us to use our ear, remember? So listen to it again. The first witness's testimony. Do you hear that the S repeats? So I am going to add an apostrophe S just as I normally would. Number 3, Jess's makeup was like an actress's. Both of these are correct because they're both showing possession and the S is pronounced in both cases. Number 4, Carmel's. Carmel's climate is famous for its uniformity. We're not talking about more than one Carmel. We're talking about its climate. So we need an apostrophe S. Number 5, Charles's father was invited to sit at the captain's table. Charles is a proper noun and it ends in S. And it's awkward to say Charles's father. Hear the Z sound? So in this instance, because it is proper and it ends in an S and it sounds awkward to say, we simply add the apostrophe. For captain's table, there's only one captain. Okay, so we're just apostrophe S. There are not multiple captains, which is the way it's punctuated in number 5 on your paper originally. Number 6 is correct. Women's downhill skiing. Number 7, the Joneses' dog barked all night. This one's tricky because it's a proper noun, It's their last name. And it's also plural because there's more than one member of the Jones family, hence Joneses. Okay, now we want to show that all of those Joneses own something. So because I'm already saying S twice, it would sound awkward to say the Joneses' job. You're not going to say it 3 times. So for this reason, this does follow the exception, and you'll just add an apostrophe. For number 8, dentist conversation put her patients at ease. The possessive pronoun in front of patients, her, lets you know there's only one dentist, not more than one. So we're going to move the apostrophe before the S to indicate that it's singular and possessive. Number 9, the jewels in the Duchess's tiara were diamonds. Okay. Duchess, duchesses, we say the S, so we are going to add the apostrophe S. Number 10 is irregular. So because it's an irregular plural noun, we don't have an S at the end, so we do add apostrophe S. For number 11, Robert Burns' poems are loved by the Scots. Robert Burns is a proper noun which ends in an S. It would sound awkward to say Robert Burns' poems are loved by the Scots, so we simply add an apostrophe S. For number 12, one bird song. There's only one bird, not more than one. So we need to move the apostrophe before the S to make sure that we're keeping bird singular and possessive. Men's, also we add an apostrophe S. Number 13, Les. All right, Les's sister goes to girls' preparatory school. Okay, both of these are correct. I'm sorry, excuse me. Les needs to be apostrophe S because we do pronounce the S, even though it's a proper noun. We say it, so we add apostrophe S. Girls' preparatory school is correct because there's more than one girl, and so we have the apostrophe after the S. There should be no changes to girls. Number 14, woman. Woman is singular, so we're not saying women, right? And in any case, woman's, we need the apostrophe before the S in order to make sure that it's singular and the possessive case. And last but not least, you need to change editors to editors S apostrophe because there are more than one. There's more than one editor. There are 2, and they influence the author. Okay, the clue word there is both. So we want to keep it plural, and because it's a plural noun, all we have to do is add the apostrophe since it already ends in an S. Tally up your mistakes. Take a look and see if you can find any patterns or commonalities in the ones that you missed. That can be very informative. It's always good when we do these exercises to really reflect on where your problem areas were. What patterns did you see in your mistakes? And when you learn from your mistakes, now you are ready to demonstrate your knowledge by completing 1.4 nouns, making nouns possessive on QIA. So you're going to go to QIA and show me that you can do this. Okay. If you need to review, you can restart the video, or if you have questions, feel free to ask me or email me. Talk to you soon, Nuggets. Bye.